Have you ever felt like you have reached the dead end of something that you've been pursuing for a very long time? That something could be a relationship that you're in, a belief that you had, or maybe even a project that you, or a hobby, or just a major, or whatever you could think of. And you believe that without that, there is nothing else. You cannot think of anything else to do or pursue. But what if I tell you that it's way simpler than that? You can always start over. And by starting over, I mean if you ever find yourself struggling with something that no longer benefits you, taking the step to change or to pivot benefits you in the long run because any moment that is spent in something that you don't like is preventing you from spending that moment in something you like. And the biggest wasted resource in this case is time, as I mentioned before. Um, we love feeling familiar. We love feeling familiarity towards everything we do, whether it's our environment, whether it's the social structure going on. But is that helping you live comfortably? I don't know about that. We're scared to admit it, and we're scared to take the step towards starting over. Yes, it's scary, and it's very unpredictable to want to start over. And starting over requires a lot of strength, by the way, because you're actively choosing to leave whatever you're doing because it no longer benefits you to something that could benefit you, you but you don't even know because again, it's unpredictable. But feeling familiar is what makes us safe in a way. Even though it's not really safe, it's just the it's because of the fact that you're used to it. So, for that reason, anything else would seem just a big no. And there's many factors why people don't try to start over because starting over, first of all, could bring in uncomfortable questions, having to explain and explain why you have changed that certain thing about yourself or why did you do that or any of this thing. And in the beginning, starting over seems like failure, sadly. And you cannot really explain it to other people because they're not looking at it from your angle. So people would make assumptions and whatever. But there's a blessing to starting over. You're giving yourself chances to fail and try, fail and try. And I'm not saying that you should fail forever, no. But more like learn from that failure. And you can never learn from failure unless you have to start over. Because if you keep on failing in something, let's say, and you decide to stay in it, then how will you ever know that it's not working? You're just giving yourself excuses to stay in it, and it's preventing you from living how you actually want to live. And your mindset changes when you accept starting over because, again, you remember that there's no race really, and no one really cares as much as you do. Besides, everyone is like starting over in something. Maybe not the same thing as you, but definitely in some other areas in life. And therefore, um, and also, just because people don't speak about it does not mean it's not there. you can see many examples of how people are, for example, they would start university at like 25. Yes, it's unusual, but it happens. You can see people getting married multiple times because they have found out that them and their partner do not really work together. And time does not justify anything. Just because you have stayed for a certain amount of time in something does not justify it in the long run. Like, it's not an excuse to say, I have spent that much time in this certain field, so therefore I'm stuck with it for the rest of my life. I mean, who told you that? No one has ever put a rule to dictate that in a way. But yeah, you're